Who are you and what is your role?
Okay, my name is Joe Crocker. I'm the membership secretary for the UKIP Newport branch. Just only this year just started doing that, so it's quite an interesting role. Challenging times at the moment, but hopefully we can get a few more members on board, especially with the council elections and the general election coming up.
How many members are there at the moment in Newport?
There's quite a good healthy membership at the moment. A lot of them very active. A lot of them just membership on paper as well, which is good as well.
If elected, what do you want to focus on?
Obviously my ward, Shaftesbury ward, I'm running for. We've all got our own separate wards, 7 of us running within Ringland, Beechwood, Killeen, Shaftesbury and Freedown and Liswary. And it's very important that we're there to listen to what the people want for us to do. It's very easy to go out and give all these promises. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do. Even sometimes you can't say it. It's what the people want you to do, what the people who voted you in want you to do for them. So
is there a manifesto or specific policies you want to work on if you're elected?
We're quite fortunate as with UKIP, as we're not whipped like some of the other parties as well. Yes, there are certain things that the UKIP councillors will want to do, and some things that the party, try to push for us to do, but they've always encouraged and supported the councillors to work for their constituents as well. Say, well, we're not going to stop you doing that if that's what you got voted in to do. We're very much a grassroots party, so we listen to what the people want and try our best to act upon it. Obviously, not everything we do, or not everything that we want to do and the people want to do can be done with the restraints that are around.
I got some questions from social media, as always. Why have you chosen to be a politician?
I originally from Newport. Born and bred in Newport. I left when I was 18. I joined the Air Force. I know I don't look old enough, but I did 18 years in the Air Force. Served in Afghanistan, Iraq and Bosnia, as well as Northern Ireland. When I left the Air Force, I came back to Newport. I wanted to come back to Newport. I found it very difficult to get a house in Newport. I ended up renting privately. I've just recently bought my own house as well. In that time as well, I've also, my children go to school in Newport. There was an issue a couple of years ago with the Crinder Primary School closing down or merging with another school. Myself and a few other parents got quite involved with that. And it's something that I think, people were coming to me and saying, you've done well there, you've done well. What else can you do? And this is something that I want to do. I want to show people, especially the people of Shaftesbury, that I can work for them.
One of the questions I have is, what kind of challenges does Shaftesbury have, and how do you feel is the best way to address them? What is the main issues?
Yeah, Shaftesbury is, for me, is one of the main gateways into Newport. You're coming from the valleys down from Cwmbran, all the way from Bettis, Malpas. Part of Malpas is the Shaftesbury ward itself. You come off the motorway. Either way, if you're coming off before the tunnels or just after the tunnels, you come into Shaftesbury. This is one of the main gateways into Newport city centre. We've got to make that as pleasant and working for Newport as we can. If we want people to come into the town centre, the city centre, if we want people to come into the city centre, we've got to encourage it. We've got to make it look important. Lots of challenges in Shaftesbury. We've got the old Sainsbury's site. Doesn't look good at the moment. Just a couple of tin huts around there stopping people coming in. Some of the residents there are concerned about antisocial behaviour that's happening in and around the area down there as well. There's a lot of work going on down there as well with the flood protection down in Shaftesbury Park. We've got some great parks in Shaftesbury. We've got Shaftesbury Park itself. We've got Kimberley Park as well, just across the road, providing a lot of sports for all ages, from children all the way up to adults, playing sports on these pitches, which is very important. One big thing that does annoy me, we've got a beautiful canal around there as well, all the way up to Bettis as well. Beautiful. It's great to go walking, but that's one of the other issues we've got with dog fouling. I know that's one thing that I go knocking on doors, speaking to people in Shaftesbury. It's one of the main concerns, is especially going down to the school area. it's not fair on the on children. It's not fair on the parents as well.
So, with the old Sainsbury's building, what would you do with it? Would you try and get a new business involved in it? Maybe build more houses. What would be your plan to try and address that?
It's it's currently owned by a private company, as I'm aware of at the moment. It's a prime site, isn't it? It's a beautiful site there. Unfortunately, it's not big enough to possibly put some more fields on or something to improve, more play centres for the children. But it's a good land for building on. Some of the designs I've seen previously printed in the Argus, they look good. Yeah, it's something. It's going to look like the other riverside. Hopefully pick up that bit of area again.
One question I do have, because I remember when I briefly lived in Shaftesbury, there's a lot of kids, a lot of children. And I think in in the town centre as well, we have a lot of issues with children not you have a lot of kids on their bikes and stuff, and just circulating around Friars Walk, and people have been complaining about it quite a lot. So, in Shaftesbury, would you do anything to address that, and what kind of ideas would you have to perhaps prevent that?
There are definitely issues down there under the flyover. The old Harlequin roundabout. There's a lot of issues around there for drugs, antisocial behaviour. Sometimes at night you just can't walk past. You don't feel safe walking past there. Like I said, I used to live on a street down there, and I'm quite a big lad. I was, you do get scared yourself sometimes. We've got to engage more with the community. One of my personal things is education is key right from the start, and I don't just mean education of the children. It's educating the adults as well of what's going on. We've got a fantastic community centre down there, Shaftesbury Community Centre, absolutely fantastic, and the work that they do with some of the youngsters. Then I don't know if you heard of the youth gang, that there's all children around about 9, 10, 11 maybe, and they're going around there picking up rubbish. They're doing a lot of hard work to keep that area clean and tidy, and when it's getting the kids involved with something as well, getting them to have a bit more pride in their community, and that's where I think it all stems from. I don't think there's no quick fix for Shaftesbury, not at all. There's no quick fix for Newport, not at all. Everything is education, and if it takes a generation, people might say, well, you had your chance there, nothing's happened, but it's a gradual step. We've got to get that first bit in, get the generation gap going, get everybody educated, everybody understanding what they can do to improve their community, to improve Newport in general.
What's the relevance of UKIP now that Brexit is underway?
It's underway, but it's not done and dusted, is it? You've got some of the ex-UKIP MPs and AMs saying job done. Well, it's far from job done. If it was job done, would we be sitting here today with a general election coming in a couple of months? No, it's not job done. The other thing for UKIP is, United Kingdom Independence Party. We've secured that part of the policy to get that referendum, but there's so many other issues that we're involved with as well. We're not just a one policy party.
What are some of the other policies of UKIP?
Well, one, we'd like to give people, the grassroots, a voice to put down what they want to say. But the other things, we looking at local people in local areas, veterans, looking after the veterans that come out of the forces to make sure that they're housed correctly, that they've got jobs. One of the things we've seen in Newport recently is the rise of homeless people on the street as well. That's a major thing with a lot of ex-forces people as well. I'm not saying that they are in Newport, but it's a general thing as well. Looking at getting businesses back up, running businesses in the towns, in the cities, all over the country, get them going again. Looking at affordable housing, looking at the schooling. As I said, education I think is vitally important for us.
There was, I can't remember the exact numbers, but there was on the UKIP site for Wales, I remember that they were talking about there being a waiting list for businesses to actually come in. Could you tell me a bit more about that and exactly what that's about?
I think that there's a lot of businesses that would benefit from being in Wales. One of the main stumbling point at the moment is the Severn Bridge, I believe. There's a lot of work on at the moment, still trying to find out what's going to happen next year. Is it going to get reduced? Is it going to get cut totally? Once that happens, I think Wales, and especially the Newport area, are going to hit a boom. We've already seen house prices in Newport going up. There's a lot of people moving from Bristol area because the house prices are so high in Bristol. They're moving to the Newport area. That's only going to have an increase in what we can provide in Newport as well. If the motorway, if the Severn Bridge is free or reduced toll from there, I think there's going to be a lot more business going along the M4 corridor, that way to Ireland, that way to London, stopping in Newport along the way.
So how would you encourage businesses to come to us, or more specifically Newport?
For me personally, it'd be very difficult to introduce or to encourage big businesses into Newport. But I think if we can get the small businesses started first, we can look out through the city centre shops. Look down at every other shop seems to be empty. If we can do something to get local businesses going, get a thriving local community first, show people when they come to Newport that the town centre, the city centre is full of people. You know, people shopping, every other shop, you know, people in there. We've got a fantastic marketplace there, which they've spent a lot of money on. But there's not a great deal in there. You know, we've got to try maybe looking at getting businesses either reduced rent or, you know, even maybe a free rent for 6 months. And then if your business is going well there, you'll pay an increased rent over the next 2 years or so. And it's not a case of, right, because you've closed now, we'll take the money off you. We want to encourage businesses, get the small businesses going to get the big businesses interested in, to see that Newport is thriving.
What about entrepreneurs? Is there a place for them in Newport?
Definitely. Everybody's looking for the next big thing. If we can get it in Newport, you know, we've got the patents office down the road. Let's get them working hard as well.
Why don't there appear to be coherent policies within UKIP?
Obviously, there are a lot of people within all the parties that agree and disagree with everything. You just had to look at the Tory party, who did want to remain in the referendum in the EU, who didn't. Every party, Labour, again, Corbyn, anti-Corbyn. You know, there's a lot of differences in every party, and I think that's what makes it go round. That's what makes every party something that somebody somewhere can affiliate to, be it a major party or be it an independent party as well, or an independent as such.
What can the party bring to change now that Brexit has been voted on?
As I said earlier on, it's been voted on, but it's not been seen through yet. We still need somebody there who is going to take the bull by the horns and say, right, no, this is what the people voted for. This is what we wanted. Let's go and deliver it.
With UKIP, now that Farage has left and Paul Nuttall has actually come forward as the party leader now, how do you feel that has affected UKIP, and do you feel that UKIP has the same kind of impetus and driving force that Farage envisioned and actually pushed forward for?
Good question. Obviously, Nigel Farage is a very enigmatic character, isn't he? He's visionary. He's got a lot of people behind him. One of the reasons I joined UKIP was because of him. You know, you listen to what he said, and you couldn't help but stop and, oh, is this a politician? Yeah, and he said, well, a lot of people are thinking. And I think when a party does lose such a character like that, when any organisation loses a character like that, there will be fallout from there. But the thing is, like I said, he took that decision. You know, he's worked all his life to get that decision, to get what he had with the referendum, with a yes. You know, we're leaving. He's gone out on top. Good luck to him.
Now that Brexit has been voted on and is in motion, what the impression I get from other politicians I've interviewed is that a lot of UKIP members or candidates are going over to Tory. Do you see that happening because they're quite similar to Tories?
I think we'll see. We'll see in the council elections as well. This is something new for us in the Newport branch as well, that we've not run in a main council election in Newport before. So this is, people say we've only got 7 people. Yes, we have only got 7 people. Of course, we'd like to have one vote or one candidate for every single seat that's going. But we've got 7 people. That's 7 more than we had at the last main election. Yes, we have had one in the by-election. A really good showing on that, came third in the by-election as well. I hope people just don't see it as we're going to vote for Tory because this is what's going on. Theresa May has said this, said that. We don't know what is actually going on at the moment. That's why she's called another election. So it's time still to be strong and say, right, let's send the government a message that although we've put the wheels in motion, we still want to keep pushing that card over.
There was an interesting question actually to Lib Dem leader Tim Farron, whether or not he'd consider a coalition of the Tories. Do you think that UKIP would consider a coalition with the Tories if it did come to that?
Locally or generally or both? Or?
Generally, I suppose.
I don't think anybody would rule anything out at the moment. You've seen this, I think it was a Progressive Alliance or something that the SNP, Labour and Lib Dems, I think, were talking about or something not long ago as well. I don't think anybody could rule anything out if it's for the betterment of the country in general. But it's way below my pay scale to say anything for what the main party would do.
How well do you think you and your party have done this year?
It's been a fantastic year for UKIP, hasn't it? I don't think anybody could really deny that, especially from the last general election as well. To get more votes, to be third in the main general election, first of all, to beat the National Party of Wales in Wales is an immense step as well for UKIP. To come third in both parts of Newport as well, great percentages that we had on there as well, and then to cap it all off with the EU referendum, where a lot of my colleagues as well, and praising the other parties here as well as those, went out together hand in hand and worked together to get the vote. Yeah, there's been issues since. You've had a couple of leaders and. But hopefully we're on a strong footing now. We definitely are within Newport, so we're just here now to go forward.
Over the past year, what kind of work has UKIP done for Wales to improve Wales?
We've seen in the Assembly elections that there's still a huge voice that Newport can have. That Wales can have, or UKIP can have in Wales, and especially in Newport area as well. In this part of Wales, South East Wales is quite a stronghold. I think it could be a hotbed for UKIP as well. We've gone to the Assembly, we've shaken it up a little bit. Nobody expected UKIP to get that many Assembly members now. Now's the time to turn it on and say, right, let's work from there, let's get the councillors in, let's all work together and get our ward, our city, our region, our country working better, working together.
That's all the questions I have on the sheet. Another question I want to ask though is, apart from any reason you've already stated, why should people vote for you?
Well, I'm hoping people will go out and vote, full stop. Be it any party, I hope people want, get out. I think we spoke off air before about voter apathy, or voter fatigue as well, with the amount of votes that people, amount of elections that people have had. I hope people do get out and make their voice heard. If you don't go out and make your voice heard, then should you be in a place to complain or criticise anybody afterwards? Hopefully, a lot of people will vote for UKIP because they will understand it. It's not a one-party policy, a one-policy party even. We're here to listen to the grassroots. As I said right at the beginning, we can't always say that we'll definitely do this for you, but we'll work our hardest for you. If it can't be done, we'll come back to you and say why it can't be done. So let's go out there and make Newport purple.
How can people contact you if they want to ask you questions or something in the future?
Yeah, we've got a website. We've got a Facebook page, UKIP Newport. We're on the Twitter page as well. They can also get us on UKIP Newport branch at Google Mail as well. And I'm sure if anybody gets hold of you, you could give them my contact details as well. But the other thing, every first Thursday of every month down at the Neon Centre in Newport, we hold our monthly meetings. So yeah, please come along and see what we're up to.